I'm a faculty member at NC State, and we're here in La Selva, where I've been working for 14 years now. I've been coming here studying different aspects of the hydrology, the groundwater flow, and you want to go down and see it? It's a weir. It's technically it's a sharp-crested V-notch weir, but it's a device for measuring the discharge of water in a stream. And it's used at experimental watersheds all over the world. I mean, one of the major tools for investigating an ecosystem is measuring what comes in and what goes out, right? So you can see how it processes water and chemicals and energy. So this is one way in which you measure how much water is coming out of a watershed. Put a flow control structure like this in place and continuously measure the water level with some electronic equipment. And then there's a very well-known relationship between the water level behind the weir and the discharge through the weir. So we measure water level every 15 minutes. The data logger calculates the discharge from the water level, so we have the discharge of water every 15 minutes continuously. And we have it for years now. It also helps with figuring out how much of different chemicals are coming out of the watershed, because we've got the water discharge, and if we know the concentration of different things like CO2, carbon for example, in the water, we can calculate how much carbon or how much other chemicals are coming out of the watershed too. So it helps not only with the water but with the geochemistry and the water quality. Built it in 1998 with funding from the National Science Foundation, and it's been operated pretty much continuously since then, again with funding from the National Science Foundation. This weir has about 40 to 45 tons of dry concrete mix that was hauled out here in 50 kilogram sacks and mixed by hand in wheelbarrows. Because obviously there's no road out here. You can't drive a truck out here into the forest. So it was all done with manual labor. The other weir on the Takanazo is a little smaller. It has about 25 tons of concrete mix. It's basically a concrete block. Sharp-edged aluminum V-notch plate built into the concrete wall. And behind this concrete wall is a concrete floor. Then there are concrete walls on either side of the stream. On the downstream side, all the water is spilling onto a concrete apron. So it's pretty much a big concrete box to still and slow and capture the stream discharge. Plate is actually 3 separate plates. It costs a couple $1,000s to have a machine here. We can step out there onto the pipes if you want to follow me. Put a hand down here. During construction, all the water is coming through these pipes instead of over the top. On a steel tape that goes over a pulley. And when the water goes up and down, that float moves up and down, which means the pulley rotates because the steel tape runs from the pulley to the float. So when the pulley rotates, then the data logger counts rotations up or down, and that is a way of counting, how the water level is going up or down. The rotations of that shaft on that pulley are recorded here by this data logger, which is powered by that battery. And that data logger is programmed to take a measurement every 15 minutes.
And can you get that information back in North Carolina?
We don't have any telemetry here right now. William, our field technician, is coming out here once a week, downloading the data with a little USB device that he plugs into the data logger. Right, well, we visually check that every week to compare it to what the data logger is recording. There's not a lot of organic carbon in it, but there's more than you would think by looking at it. I mean, it looks like drinking water. It's totally clear. Wow. And the particle load is probably reduced a little bit by by sampling at the weir, but there aren't a lot of particles in these streams either. The weir is for measuring the discharge of the water, and the dam is
Usually has another purpose, right? Flood control or recreation or water supply. I'm sorry, you really want to record this stuff. Better start it.
Weir.
WEIR. We're just calling it a Weir.
Okay.